Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Running, jumping, music bumping. Catch me creeping through the cut. Burning from my dust, smoking now I pull it up. I won't stop, so don't confront too much about to be a grunt. Watch my back and off the front, you drop it off, I pick it up. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Running, jumping, music bumping. Catch me creeping through the cut. Busted trying to stop my son. All time say I'm dangerous. Nervousness from within you. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Running, jumping, music bumping. Catch me creeping through the cut. Busted trying to stop my son. All time say I'm dangerous. Nervousness from within you. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Running, jumping, music bumping. Catch me creeping through the cut. Burning from my dust, smoking now I pull it up. I won't stop, so don't confront too much about to be a grunt. Watch my back and off the front, you drop it off, I pick it up. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu. Funk inside my evil thoughts. I'm waiting on the money drop. Catch me creeping through the cut. All time say I'm dangerous. Cutting game just like a Ginsu.
guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Peter said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
An FBI agent arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us.
I was going to start with the news that I literally just got right on the intro. But before that, I got to call you a piece of shit.
What's new from any other day?
Barry decided today that he was not going to bring his pet raccoon into the
All right.
office.
You know what? This is not a fair analysis. You're not telling the whole story already.
I don't need the whole story.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
no
That's the
fucking
problem with you.
raccoon here. He could have just been sitting right
There
here.
is no sitting right there with him. Imagine a hyperactive 2-year-old with Down syndrome with razor sharp teeth and claws. That's what you have. And you can put him on a leash and harness all you want. That's not going to save your flesh. It only brings it back closer to your flesh. So now that I know that raccoons make terrible pets, I want to pass this information on to everyone that is considering getting one. Please do not.
Well, the title of today's show is Barry's a piece of shit for not bringing the fucking coon.
Well, you know, luckily for our audience, we have one in the room with us. So, Enrique, take it away.
All right, so let's start the day off. I just got banned on Facebook. So for those that follow me on Facebook, sorry, guys. You won't be seeing my content anymore. And actually, my account grew pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's probably why they banned it, too.
Yeah.
But regardless of the fact, let's start with a couple things, 2 things that we've covered. So I'm going to put those in the beginning and the end. Let's start with the judge's ruling. I always fuck up the day. I think it was Wednesday. No, I'm sorry. It was Friday. Friday, the judge issued a ruling vacating the indictment against myself and the 4 other Proud Boys. So super fucking cool. We covered that. If you go back down on the War Boys Studios, we did actually the first show since we got out of prison. All 5 of us got together for the first time, and we're on screen for the first time. Barry, I know you were watching, and I know that you were asking some questions on how this affects others. I don't know if you've gotten any information on that or what you took from it.
Well, I did notice that as soon as that motion was granted and that was, the charges were dropped, I did see lawyers from all the different lawyers and firms that I pay attention to started making rumbling. So that told me something right there, you know. But no, as far as any solidified information that you know that we can say this will cause a precedence for everybody else, we haven't really seen that yet. But I think it's coming. I think it's very
possible. We're now working with. I've been on the phone with attorneys for the past couple of days. And we're talking about like the civil lawsuit, how this affects it, stuff like that. So I'll give you guys more details on that as it comes. But if you want to see like actual, like we go play by play on what happened, how all of us feel, where we are today, where we're planning to take it next. And that show was Sunday's show. So go down to the Warboy Studios, scroll up, and you will find that the episode title is called Seditious 5.
And now legend has it that if you go into a mirror and turn the lights off and say the judge dropped the charges against the Seditious 5, somewhere in America, a Starbucks barista's head will explode. So that's fucking awesome. Good job, guys.
Starbies, we call it Starbies.
Starbies, yeah.
We call it Starbies around here. Okay, so big news that's coming in, and I'm kind of going to give you guys a little bit of insider, although it's been circling social media circles for a while. On Thursday, the president will be making an announcement about declassifying some information related to the 2020 election. Why we continuously talk about the 2020 election 6 years later, obviously for personal reasons, we are J6ers, but regardless of the fact, the 2020 election just doesn't affect J6ers, it affects all Americans, period, right? Even Democrats. It affected their lives. It made things so much more expensive. We saw the weaponization of government because of it, not just towards the 1,600 individuals, 1,575 individuals, that got arrested for January 6th, but all those that were going to be arrested and all those lives that were changed. So a little bit of insider that I got on that report, they are going to talk about foreign influence. Not only foreign influence in the campaign, foreign meddling in our elections in Georgia. They haven't said what country. And I don't think this is like new stuff. Like countries meddle in other countries' elections all the time. Americans do it too. Like the USA does it too when it comes to other. But this one was hit home. And specifically, I think, and I think it was mentioned, that both senators in Georgia might be affected by this declassification of the election results of 2020. We always get these super hyped up news stories. So I don't know if it's going to match the hype, but even if it matches it by 20%, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to really break down and see the schematics for the War Rock campaign, because that one was very obvious. There was a lot of funny shit going on. And let's not forget that Stacey Abrams has always said there was election fraud in the state of Georgia. So maybe she was right the whole time.
Yeah.
Let's give her some credit where credit's due. She should go get a Lizzo album, 14 bottles of Chardonnay, and celebrate, because this is a good deal for her.
Why do they all look the same?
Lizzo.
The teeth and the...
I think it's a thyroid problem. It's definitely not the 14 cheesecakes per week that she consumed. It's the thyroid. So be a little bit more body sensitive, Enrique.
I think she's lost weight. I think the fat shaming has worked for Lizzo.
No, but you saw what happened. Not only did she lose weight, I think it was an Ozempic commercial thing she did, but not only did she lose weight, but she started getting shamed by people for losing weight. Of course, back to the Starbucks baristas I was referring to earlier. But yeah, they started shaming her online for losing the weight and being more healthy. And I thought there's nothing more American than that right now.
If you're getting made fun of and shamed for a lot of things in your life, including your weight, it's usually your politics. It's usually your politics, ladies and gentlemen. Usually it starts with your politics, and then we start looking at the issues you have in your life, and it all boils down to what you look like. Because sometimes liberals look like shit. But I think this is going to be huge, dude. On a serious note, this is going to be huge.
And I don't think it could come at a better timing. A lot of those guys, people tend to forget that. I think all of them besides Ethan and you they're military veterans. Their veteran benefits were suspended and taken away from them. They earned that. And despite your feelings about January 6th, so to see them be able to get that back and get their lives back and get the recognition that they deserve for their honorable contribution to our country by serving it in the military, I think that's good for them mentally. So, and there's others that this applies to, but we're talking about these guys right now. Real quick, just before we jump, how do you feel about the Oath Keepers and Meta moving forward? Do you think this set any precedents for them?
I think Meta is just being a bitch.
Well, we know that goes without saying.
Because Kelly said it clear. And actually, you know what? I said this, and I think it's really important to say this. In his 7-page order to vacate the indictment, although he talks about in 5 pages, he talks shit about the president, he talks shit about us, he talks shit about the DOJ, whatever. He says something that I find super interesting. And basically, he says that, the only reason he's doing it is because the Constitution doesn't allow him to say no, right?
Well, what does that
And
tell
you shouldn't have to say that, right? And that leads me to believe, like, at first glance, when you listen to it, right, you're like, okay, well, he's following the Constitution, right? Because he has to, right? But then what is his mental state? Psychologically, like he wants to shit on the Constitution. He wants to trample on it. So during trial, throughout that 6-month trial, and throughout all the proceedings before and after, how many times did he get away with it? How many times did he get away with trampling and shitting on the Constitution when it came to our defense? Look, you want to put me through a fair trial for sedition? That's fine. But it wasn't a fair trial. It wasn't a fair jury. The jury hated me to begin with. The jury hated the Proud Boys.
Right.
They hated the 4 other guys that were there.
Yeah, the leading jury was an activist pretty much against the Proud Boys.
Yeah,
So,
he was literally getting protested by the Proud Boys for Drag Queen Story Hour while he was going through this trial.
Right.
So is that fair? No. And that's why the pardons had to come.
Sure.
Right? So how many times did Tim Kelly... I think I'm going to make a fucking Tim Kelly shirt.
He deserves it.
I think I'm going to make a Tim Kelly shirt. I think it's definitely merited.
Is there a way to put Tim Kelly and mash Carmelo Anthony somehow together and make them as one person? That would be pretty fun.
I had a very dark joke to say there, and I'm going to shut up because I am a fucking gentleman.
Okay.
And a scholar.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sound too convincing, Barry. But yeah, so how many times did he shit on us throughout there? And then how it ties into this story. Americans protested the election, whether you thought that was true or not. I believe it's true. I think most Americans believe it was true. It doesn't matter. That is their belief, and they're free to express that belief. And they were persecuted because of the belief that the election was stolen and because Democrats were saying that it wasn't. So now if it proves to be stolen, not only were they protesting peacefully, there was some people in the crowd that got very rowdy. Fair. But if you see the charging documents on people that just walked in and out, they're like, the stolen election lies, right? So now if it proves to be true, they were actually protesting an actual fucking stolen election.
Yeah.
Which they were.
All the grandmas and grandpas that got knocked on the door by FBI just for standing in the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is an encroachment.
That is. So let's see what happens with our case. And let's see what happens on Thursday night on this report that was put together actually by Tulsi Gabbard before she left. It wasn't completed, and now Bill, the acting ODNI, is taking the reins on it. I think he's doing an amazing job. He isn't as vocal as Tulsi, but that's not like example in the head of DHS, like Kristi Noem was very vocal, but she got somewhat of the job done that we wanted her to do. But we're with Mark Wayne Mullen, and I don't want to dislike this guy. It's just he's not good at communications. I don't see the numbers. Maybe I'm not looking in the right place. I don't see the numbers. So, but in this case, this was a good transition.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Tulsi's work. I'm sad to see her go. I'm praying for her husband.
Exactly. She did a great job.
She did a great job. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Agreed. And it doesn't hurt that she's, stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Bill's not going to be able to fill those shoes. Sorry, Bill.
Yeah. If there's any need to fill shoes, I'm available.
Well, she's got a sick.
Tulsi.
She's got a sick.
That's like my.
Yeah.
That's like the. Like,
are you saying if your husband's sick, call me up? What do you
She kind of has a what's that?
Storm from the X-Men.
No, she doesn't look like fucking Storm from the X-Men. Get out of here.
Rogue,
That's
the one with the
Halle Berry. You know, you can't compare that.
Something
No,
like
she
that.
looks like what's that woman that does Wonder Woman? Israeli.
Oh, I know. I seen a movie. With her,
Gal Gadot.
That's
Gal
what-
Gadot. That's her name.
Sounds almost like Goy.
Goy Gadot.
Goy Gadot.
Yeah, but she's
Yes.
she's a smoke show.
Yeah.
Getting into our next subject, the passing of Lindsey Graham.
You're supposed to add unfortunate in there for like you have to do that because I think if you don't do that, you seem insensitive. I heard. I don't know. I'm autistic.
I don't want to be I don't want to be sensitive to it at all.
I mean, he did say I should be shot in the head.
Well, that's where some people. So I've been posting about it ever since, like, you know, fucking making fun of it or whatever. And some people just don't understand the context, and I try to give some people context as to why. Right? Like, you're allowed to feel however you want, and you're allowed to criticize people that feel a certain types of way. But coming from somebody or a group of people, not just me, a group of people that this man, because you could say, look, I was against what J6ers in the beginning and I changed my mind. Byron
Donalds. There you go.
You know, Byron Donalds did that. And for that, I'm forever like loyal.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because he looked at the evidence and drew his own conclusion.
And look, and just
Imagine
based
that.
on that, that's one of the reasons why I haven't, like, not that my fucking endorsement matters. Like, I don't think I'm going to gain voters for him if I endorse him.
No, you very well could lose him.
Yeah, I could very well lose them. Correct. But that's really why, because like there is that level of loyalty. There is that personal story
Sure.
that goes with that.
You're right.
And with Lindsey Graham, not only did he vote to certify the election, you know, you could at least say Ted Cruz was like, no, I don't want to do this. You know, you could point out to many senators that refused to certify the 2020 election legally. They're legally allowed to do so. But he just went along with the fucking story. And not only did he go along with the story, he said multiple fucking times, not one, not once. He said multiple times that we should have been shot in the head. How the fuck do you expect me to be like, I feel so bad that it happened, to somebody that literally said that we should all be shot in the head, right? Because he and people try to take it out of context, because there's this one time that he said, some of them, right? But all the other times is like they should have shot them in the head. You know?
Yeah.
This is multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, it's on record.
So like, what do you want me to do? You want me to stay silent? No, fuck you. Look, mourn for him and be like, oh, he was a great senator. I'm not going to fucking go into your comments and like be like, oh yeah, fuck you, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not going to do that. I respect it because I know it's coming from like a personal bias.
Right.
And I think all J6ers feel the same way.
Sure.
Except Pam Hempel.
Yeah. Well, she has to.
Yeah. So in that case, like,
well, it's funny that you brought up Pam Hemphill, because much like Pam Hemphill, I would have ignored all that shit with Lindsey Graham. I always saw him as like a problem for Trump and the MAGA movement, if you will say. But what the line for me where it was like, all right, enough is enough with this guy. Not only is he a war hawk when he doesn't have any skin in the game, you know, that shit bothers me because he's always so quick to just go out, sign off on war. But standing alone at Disneyland with a fucking balloon, ice cream, by yourself.
yeah, it's all weird.
It's all weird, man. That's like check my hard drive type of behavior. And you know, when it comes to shit like that, that's where I'm like, I don't care if you have an R next to your name or not. That's what separates us from the Democrats, because we will call our own out and we will say this is not okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was one of the many. It wasn't just because of his first disdain for Trump that he tried to mask later on. He's a piece of shit.
If you want to see a party that has the most independent thinkers, you could disagree with them or not. And that's why we kind of have like this mini civil war within the right, is because
Every 6 months.
Yeah. we think differently.
Yeah.
We all think differently. We all have different, and we're all very passionate. That's why we fight.
Right.
Right. So on the left, do you get that pushback? I'd say from a very, very small portion of the left, do you see like pushback? But from our side, it's constant. You know, we're calling each other like, I'm banned on what do we have running right now? Oh, we have whatever. We call each other faggots and a whole bunch of like fucking crazy names, right? Sometimes playfully, sometimes as an insult. You know, because we're passionate about it, we're like bouncing it back and forth. So that's what true independence looks like.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, look how many.
Go ahead, celebrate it.
Look how many days and look how many fights and arguments took place before they signed the Declaration of Independence. You know, like that was not, you know, the Bill of Rights. They fought on that for a long, long time. There was, you know, I mean, almost duels over it. You know, so this,
Yeah, the
that's
Federalists
how
were a bunch of pieces of shit. Like I could say that. Like we always look up to them. The Federalists were a bunch of pieces of shit.
I don't
Straight
know.
up.
I like John Quincy Adams. Fuck yourself.
He put together the Sedition Act,
That is true. That is true.
which got tossed down
Well,
by the Supreme Court later and
Yeah.
then reestablished
But
in the
yeah.
1850s, 1860s.
They were trying to use that flawed piece of legislation in a flawed way. So, you know, just like the 1512.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. You're free to have your thoughts to the audience that doesn't agree with me. You're free to have your thoughts on Lindsey Graham. I'll never shit on you for it. But please don't shit on me because I'll say it right here, right there, like fucking burn in hell. Like burn in hell. You know, you destroyed many lives. You shifted with the political winds. You got with Trump when it was convenient. You dumped him when it wasn't. And like, you could give me, well, he voted with Trump every once in a while. And Trump likes him. Yeah, you know what? Trump's a personal guy. You know? And Lindsey's probably switched over and been like, hey, look, my bad, or whatever, in private. That's fine. But it doesn't take away the fact that, like, this guy, look, I agree with him. I don't give a fuck what happens in the Middle East. I don't care what fucking Israel does over there with Gaza or Iran. It's not my fucking problem. It's not my problem. But when it involves us, whatever side of the conflict it involves us, then I have a problem with it. And he was one that was pushing one foreign country's agenda. And I'm not with it.
Yeah.
I'm not with it. And look, nothing against that country, right? Like, they're doing what they are supposed to do.
Sure.
Right? They are defending themselves. Or like, if they want a war of conquest, so be it. I'll sit on the sidelines. I'll watch it. I'll be entertained by it. It's not my problem. Some of it is sad. War is sad. Correct. It's supposed to be. But it's a way of the world. It's a way of human nature.
Right.
So it's not my problem. So when somebody goes ahead and pushes some type of foreign agenda, I have a fucking problem with it.
Yeah. I think the way we look at Lindsey Graham, we being the J6ers, is that, you know, while we went to prison and waited and hoped for 4 years, not knowing if Trump was going to get reelected, I was safe to assume 99.9% of us never turned on Trump. But Lindsey Graham wanted him impeached after the first day after January 6th and signed off on it.
Most J6ers have stood by the president more than Lindsey Graham has.
Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about that. 100%.
It doesn't mean like Trump's for Lindsey Graham, so I have to be for Lindsey Graham. I don't think like that.
No, not at all.
And I don't think a lot of people think like that.
Well, you say it best when you say my loyalty is to Trump and it ends there. Yeah. It's not extended to his administration.
And it's definitely not extended to a senator that said he was going to shoot me I should be shot in the head.
And looks like he gets pedicures at Walmart. Don't forget to add that ad.
Hell is a gay nightclub without AC. And he might be happy about that.
And the bar stools are upside down, so that's weird.
Oh, yeah. And he sits on all four. It's his own bar stool, baby. It's his own bar stool. Moving along, because we do have to cut this off at 1 o'clock. I have a call that I got to get on. I mean, we have a lot of time. With the president of the United States. I got a call with the president. I got to pick up the red phone.
Yeah, I have one of those.
I want to bring one as a prop. Just like put it back here and have it ring.
If we had that raccoon here, he would eat the phone.
Bro, you don't know. You just fucking tie him up right
That's
there.
not how you don't tie a raccoon up.
What is he going to do?
You go ahead and corner a raccoon.
Bring him on Wednesday. Let's do a show.
I have enough scratches and bites in me.
Okay,
to
put
know
him in the cage, and then I'll pick him up and I'll put him there.
Okay. We're going to film it?
Yes. I'll have a third camera just
Audience,
on the raccoon.
my audience, you hear this now. If he films this, I will agree to
We
bring
will go
the raccoon.
fuck filming. We will go live with the fucking raccoon on the desk.
All right, fair enough. If we're going to do that, but you got to get him out of the cage.
That's fine. I'll
Okay.
get him out of the
All right,
fucking
that's
cage.
it.
Get
We're
outta
doing
here.
it. We're doing it. All right.
Get out of here.
You can't hurt him. That's the thing.
I'm not going to hurt the fucking raccoon.
It's different from a dog, which I don't recommend anyway. There's no need to smack a dog. If you're smart enough, you can train him without smacking him. But a raccoon, you can't do that because once they develop a relationship that hands can be a threat, forget about it, bro. It's not. You're never picking
What
that
are
thing
you, a
up
fucking
again.
raccoon psychologist?
No, but I have some experience with
You
exotic
ChatGPT
animals.
all this shit?
Some of it, yeah. Because I just learned that I learned two things about a raccoon. They go through puberty, which this one is now, which makes them really hormonal, and they can suck themselves off. I didn't know that. It's all cool and disgusting, and they do that. So, two things: ChatGPT and the raccoon.
FISA.
Yeah.
FISA. I want to just touch this. We don't have this on the list. So FISA expired and hasn't been reauthorized.
Well, Lindsey Graham's out of the way, so that's one big bonus for that.
One could say, look, Lindsey Graham was pushing for the SAVE Act to be passed. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
But shooting Americans in the head is still bad.
Yeah.
But FISA hasn't been passed, and the world hasn't ended. You know, the world hasn't ended without FISA. So I think that, and there's so many other tools to fucking look at foreign terrorists or whatever other information you get from FISA. There's millions of other ways. You don't need fucking FISA.
Well, let's not conveniently leave out the fact that they're weaponizing it against the American citizens, and FISA courts were used in the whole Russia hoax bullshit. It's been weaponized, and my fear is that if something's not rectified with the Patriot Act and the FISA courts, as soon as Trump is out of office, and especially if they don't maintain the presidency after he's gone, you're going to see it weaponized again, and they're going to use it against the American citizens again. And what's left of the corrupt FBI, and they're still fucking there, are going to use it to do what they did in the past. So I really think that there needs to be amendments made where it cannot be used against American citizens whatsoever.
Of course, they could use. You're right. They could use a Patriot Act.
Yeah.
You know, they use FISA against us. I can't talk about it too much yet. I don't know if like the indictment being removed allows me to talk about it, and the fact that FISA, like the act that allows it to, would stop me from talking about that. But I'll find out soon, and hopefully I could give you guys that information without being put in handcuffs.
Which you don't seem to mind much anyway, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about being in handcuffs. And speaking about not giving a shit about being in handcuffs, our documentary aired on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, today's Tuesday?
Yesterday.
Our documentary aired yesterday. And it is about a group of people that don't give a fuck about being arrested. Obviously, they take steps not to. That fought mass migration. Belefast, A New Menace Rising, aired yesterday, and you guys can go over to the Gateway Pundit and check it out. I think the Gateway Pundit is going to be posting it direct to their X. It's also on their Rumble channel. You could check it out there. We had a space about it yesterday. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys that weren't able to listen on to the space and haven't seen it yet. And if you haven't seen it yet, look, it was mine and Barry's blood, sweat, and tears, and put together by the Gateway Pundit. Support our work by just watching it. We're not asking you for money. Watch it because there's a stark warning for the American midterm voter in there. And this story actually begins for us Americans. This story begins in 2016 when a man came down the golden escalator and came into the scene. And what made him popular wasn't his popularity. It was one issue and one issue alone, and it was immigration. And when we talk about immigration, there was a term that he said that encompasses his entire legacy and the shift in the conservative movement, and that was build a wall, right? build a wall didn't just mean like build a physical wall. It meant we have an immigration problem and we need to fix it. And we need to fix it by multiple avenues, even if it takes building a physical barrier between us and our southern neighbor.
And a barrier between our culture being swallowed by other cultures.
Yeah. And just thinking about our fellow Maple Americans up there, I think we should build a wall too. I think we should, a lot of great Canadians, including the founder of the Proud Boys, Gavin McGinnis, which is now an American, but regardless of the fact, immigration should be net zero.
Yeah, I what I'm worried about is Canada is so gay now that if they sneeze collectively, that it might get on us. And I'm a little nervous about that. Maybe I'm homophobic. I don't know.
I think you're homophobic.
I see. Maybe I got to talk to my.
Do you have a phobia of it?
Well, no, but I got to talk to my therapist about that. Him and his husband do great work.
So you're gonna have a threesome with your therapist and his husband?
Yeah. Well, this fucking escalated quickly, didn't it?
I don't know.
Jesus.
I didn't say it. You said it.
Jesus, take the wheel.
So we went to Belfast, and what we saw was extremely fascinating. A culture that was steeped in civil war, basically.
Yeah.
They've been fighting each other for, I'd say centuries, but they've also been fighting each other in the Troubles recently.
Yeah.
The Catholics and the Protestants, which I don't think it has anything to do with actual religion. I think
Not at this point.
Not at this point. But it has a lot to do with like their politics. You talked about the peace wall. Go ahead and hit on that. I think that was like one of the beginning of the for us, at least for me, was like, wait, what do you mean you have a wall that separates your
Well, that's where you got to give credit to both sides, because that wall and Belfast itself is carved out by neighborhoods that were fought and blood was shed for. So whether you're a Catholic or a Protestant, if your neighborhood is Catholic or Protestant, over the last 100 years, people have died to make that neighborhood that way, and now a wall separates it to keep it that way. So that's Belfast.
And they close at like 8 p.m.
Yeah, and then you get a warning, and I think you get arrested if you're a Protestant. You're on the Catholic side, vice versa. You can be arrested.
Yeah,
because they're just going to assume you're involved in hooliganism and trying to fight.
But what did we see? What did we see on the wall? Because there's graffiti and stuff on both sides, on the
murals,
Catholic
graffiti.
side, Protestant side.
Well, it was pretty telling. You know, at least the very large section that you and I walked. We witnessed on the Protestant side. The UK, the British side, you saw that there was a lot of tributes to Christ and biblical scripture, different martyrs that they had lost in their neighborhoods. There was even tributes to Trump and ICE and Christ is King and things like that.
There was depictions of Jesus Christ on the Protestant side of the wall.
Right.
What was on the other side?
When you get to the Catholic side, there was no mention of Christ or Catholicism. It was just tributes to communism. There was Mao, Lenin, Che Guevara, Castro, and many others, and was it Cannoli? And they had a lot of tributes to that, but there was no mention of Christ. There was no mention of the Catholic Church or the Pope, and there was fuck ICE and fuck Trump. So it was this very contrasting, viewpoints written on the wall that separates the two sides, and when you juxtapose them, it's like, wow, they're very, very different from one another.
Yeah. And that was like the beginning of like the issues, and it starts giving you that rich history of Northern Ireland and Ireland as a whole island.
You're talking about a neighborhood like Belfast. I mean, your 90-year-old grandmother has no problem, sweet little old lady, but has no problem putting on brass knuckles and knocking your teeth out. Like that's just the way it is.
Or blowing your legs off.
Yeah, a little bit of napalm, no problem.
So we interviewed some gangsters.
Yeah.
Right. Some real, and I don't say that in a bad way, like fucking some gangsters there.
Good people.
Good people.
Good people.
Actually, his last name is Peoples. Clifford Peoples was great on there, and he has a history.
Now he has a church. That's the most important part.
Both of these sides, something united both of these sides, and it's been mass migration because they feel like they're getting third party. They're like, no, we like a fair fight, 1-on-1. You're coming in here and you're trying to fight us both. And a Sudanese man tried to behead another man, a local, that was trying to help them out, an autistic man.
Yeah.
Right there in the streets, and it was the video was gruesome.
Well, that's almost a good segue. We don't have to do it yet, but when we talk about the next thing, the Jamie Carney thing, this individual, this autistic man that you just talked about, Enrique, this guy was trying to help the migrants. He was trying to get them housing and jobs and money, free money from the government, the taxpayers of Northern Ireland, but nonetheless helping them. And this was the cost of helping him.
Can you imagine what the price of fucking car insurance is there in Northern Ireland? Because what I'm about to say next is wild. Because just a couple hours later and a couple days later, this lasted quite a bit. You know, the locals, including the paramilitaries, got together and they're like, "We've had enough."
Mm-hmm.
So these NGOs that are buying up these properties, right, and filling them with migrants, not families, like males, right. They went and they burned down like city blocks and cars. Right. And one can say, look, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that.
Right.
But that's what happens when a government does not listen to its people. It's a consequence of that. And it's not something that that hit me was it's not like I'm sure and yesterday Richard said, I'm sure that there is like there are racist elements that are involved in this, but everybody we talked to didn't give a shit about like their race, right? Because there was a Sudanese in that same block where they were burning down buildings. There was a Sudanese family that their children are integrated into Northern Ireland society.
One of them was born there.
One of them was born there, speaks better English than some of the locals, right? They completely like skipped the house
and prevented the fire from getting to their house, saved their house.
Exactly.
And when we spoke to these people and to hear, like when we asked the Sudanese people, how did you feel seeing other Sudanese houses burn? And their response was, this was the first time I felt safe in my own neighborhood in a long time. They never felt threatened by them, even though they were Sudanese. They never felt threatened because they always knew they were part of the community.
Yeah.
And I thought that was all telling and definitely not a version of the story that they want to tell about these people.
And it's interesting when you ask them who is to blame for that. They don't typically blame the migrants. What they're blaming is two things. They're blaming these NGOs that are buying these houses, and they're blaming their government.
Right.
You know, Sinn Féin, right? They're blaming these people for the issues that are happening in Northern Ireland. So I found that extremely interesting because I thought I was going to get there. They're like, oh, no, all migrants. They're basically saying, look, fix the immigration issue, and we could have some type of immigration as long as there's integration into the Northern Ireland communities,
right? Into
the community.
When we interviewed that Phantom of Belfast guy, that was pretty cool. And one of the things he said off camera was, you know, it's not about rioting and hurting people. It's about letting the police and the government here in Belfast know that when we stand up, they better sit down.
Yeah.
And he wasn't joking when he said that.
And these people aren't just used to doing this. This didn't come up like, oh, let's just target migrants. These groups target like even the locals. They target like heroin dealers.
Yes.
They target pedophiles,
burglars,
house robbers,
car thieves.
Like they'll burn your fucking house down.
Yeah, they'll get you out of town if they find out you're committing crimes.
Yes. So it feels like to me that there's two governments. There's two governments within the state of Northern Ireland, the part of the Union of the UK, but there's two governments there. There's the government, the ones that they vote for, and then there's this other element, which is the people, the government of the people, and there's retribution by the people. And you could argue, like in a civilized society, we shouldn't have that, but why do we have that? And it's not just individuals; it's because the government is not listening to a certain population within that community.
Yeah, and that Sinn Féin, that Sinn Féin party over there that's causing a lot of the problems. You know, I think it's something that we should probably look into and learn more about. You know, especially as Americans, because you see a lot of the things that they're doing, and it's very emblematic of what we're seeing over here, as far as the open borders, the Cloward Pivens bullshit, you know, et cetera, et cetera. When I first heard Sinn Féin, though, I thought it was like a Japanese crime boss.
Yeah,
Sinn Féin,
Sinn
like
Féin.
great,
down
here,
yeah.
the right, like he probably did electricity with his hands. that
You seen that movie Bullet Train?
I unfortunately, yes.
It's actually really a good movie
Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
with Brad Pitt. Oh man, it's great. And how they introduce like that character, like the evil guy. in there, that's Sinn Féin.
Yeah, Sinn Féin. Yeah,
I
agree. That's what I saw.
And he's a little bit of a communist, so
is.
like it kind of vibes.
Makes sense.
So you will see me and Barry back in the UK to cover events that happen over there. How soon? I don't know. I think me and Barry are going to be taking some pretty gnarly trips in the next 2 months. So stay tuned for more mini documentaries from me and Barry, and maybe even the Gateway Pundit.
Yep.
So it's something I think that Americans need to see. Americans need to get out of the bubble, because I feel like a lot of us, and like, excuse me if like I'm going to crap on my own side a little bit here, but I feel like some Americans have been stuck on the mainland so long that they don't know what it looks like to be in another country, right? And see how good we have it here and how much we're shifting over. And I think, there's been a slowdown on that shift.
Yeah.
And it's because of the culture change.
Well, then people of Northern Ireland can and will be arrested for tweets that they make. So,
Yeah. So just going into something, the connector and the last portion of because we could only do this for 5 minutes. I'll give you the perfect example. Her name was Jamie Carney, a 43-year-old American woman from Westchester County, New York, was found dead in her rented home, not in America, in the Republic of Northern Ireland, which is Southern Ireland.
was she in Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland?
Southern Ireland. I'm sorry. Yeah,
She was in Ireland.
Yeah, she's in Ireland. So why this is important, the thing is, the person of interest is, well, not the person of interest because they caught him. His name is Ahmad al-Sakar, a 28-year-old Jordanian national and rejected asylum seeker who arrived in Ireland in 2024. And he was previously in the UK and Northern Ireland and France. His asylum application was refused, and he was appealing at the time, so they kept him where he was at. They met around 18 months earlier at a pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protest, and I can't pronounce that. Killarney.
Yeah.
They were in a
That's
romantic relationship, attended protests together, and had an Islamic marriage ceremony. He was reportedly with her in the days leading up to the killing, including on July 4th and 6th, and seen in the area Sunday and Monday. A week prior, he allegedly asked her for money, around £5,000, which equals to $5,700. The aftermath. Al-Sakar fled Ireland shortly before the body was discovered, reportedly on a flight to Istanbul, Constantinople, then possibly to Jordan. He was later detained and arrested in Jordan, in the tribal areas actually of Jordan, through extradition though extradition is complicated due to no treaty with Ireland. The Irish police are investigating with international and FBI assistance. The reason why this case draws significant media is because this American, this pro-Palestinian American, this virtue signaling person,
Social justice
decided to
warrior.
marry into the same people that she was, and she gets killed for it.
Yeah. And, obviously the issue here is clearly Western white Europeans, because we are so insensitive to the Muslim culture and how hard it is for them to integrate in our society. I mean, basically, if you stand against rape and murder, then you're basically just Islamophobic. And I don't know what to tell you, but, diversity is our strength, everyone. And Jamie Carney is the poster child for that. So, just stop being bigots, I guess, because you're all bigots.
Amen.
Yeah.
I just got a request to do an interview for Playboy magazine.
Okay.
Ladies, buckle up.
I say do it. Do it.
Ladies, buckle up. Helicopter dick is coming.
You got to keep your hat and sunglasses on, though.
All right, let's. I got to conclude the show. I got a call in 7 minutes. Very important call. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are currently, if you want to support us, go ahead, Barry.
You're just going to go ahead and mute me. So I'm not even going to shout my personal store out, but to support our work, as you guys know, you can get a bang for your buck and buy something at the same time and support us at 1776.shop.
Okay, I was waiting for it. And the best store on the 1776.shop is 1776 Official. And get your merchandise there.
People only censor the truth. They don't censor lies.
All right, guys, that concludes our show for today. Thank you for joining us. Love you guys. And goodbye until next time.
Load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Peter said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
And FBI agents arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are